My name is Howard Trembeth. I'm in the middle of the biggest transformation of my life. I avoided getting married until I was firmly established in my career. Lilith, my first and only wife, was born a month after me. We both celebrated our 50th birthdays earlier this year. We didn't have anything to protect when we married, so there's no nuptial agreements. Lilith and I have lived in this house for 21 years. We moved in a year after we married and then brought our firstborn back here 2 months after we were settled. Our second child joined us 2 years later. Both of those kids are off to college. I've recently convinced Lilith that we should move to a gated community for 50 and over couples. Once we had a firm commitment for our house, we put down a contract and a few thousand in earnest money to hold the new home. Now you understand why most of our belongings are boxed up. I won't be moving to that house in the gated community, though. Actually, neither of us will. I just got off the phone with the realtor withdrawing our offer. Losing a couple of grand to pull off my exodus was a small price to pay. Our time in this house is over, though. We do have to move as we attended the closing 3 days ago on Monday. We have until a week from tomorrow to turn the keys over. Lilith thinks I left on a business trip yesterday morning. I haven't been employed since I resigned a week ago. I purchased a one-way ticket to Atlanta. From Atlanta, I have a car lined up and will drive down to the Gulf and then board a ship. I should be in my island retreat in a couple of days. I'm not planning on divorcing Lilith. I do plan on taking the entire proceeds of our house sale, my 401k payout, and the bulk of our savings. With a newly acquired identity, I'm hoping to live out my life sailing around the Caribbean. It has cost more than I care to admit to establish offshore accounts. With electronic banking and an appropriate amount of money laundering, all of that money is now in my new identity's cryptocurrency accounts. Since there are over 10,000 cryptocurrencies, I'm hoping like hell the one I chose survives. I plan on converting that imaginary money back into something with more stability as soon as possible. Imaginary things can disappear at the most inopportune moments, kind of like Lilith's wedding vows. Around 3 p.m., I called Lilith. She answered on the 4th ring and sounded perturbed. "Hi, babe. How was your trip?" she asked. "All right. Same stuff. Different city. What are you up to?" "Just boxing some more stuff up," she replied. "Okay, lie number 1. She's 30 miles away at Arnold Perniss's house. He is Lilith's current companion. I don't really know if he is her first. Fact is, I don't care. One is too many. As much as I'd like to confront them directly, my revenge is simply to leave Lilith high and dry. Arnold's wife is likely to deal with him." "Are you marking the boxes that contain your stuff?" I inquired. "Yes, dear. Mine are clearly marked Lilith. Yours are marked Howard. It will be very easy to put yours into your closet and mine into mine. Would you mind looking in my desk for my day planner?" "It should be in the top right drawer," I said. After a minute. "I don't see it. Are you sure about where it is?" "Lie number 2. You would have to be inside my home, like my brother is now, to even check. All I really cared was that my brother would have time to empty the house I sold. Since it appears she has no intention of returning anytime soon, I'm confident my plans needn't change." "No problem. You said you were having lunch with friends today. Where did you go? Would I know any of them?" "We went to the diner by my office. Just some of the ladies I work with. What are you doing for dinner?" Lie number 3. My investigator says you drove to Arnold's place this morning at 9 a.m. and haven't left yet. "I'll probably just order a steak from room service. The company pays for it. What's on tap tonight?" "Just another load of laundry and packing. I hear the dryer buzzing. I should go. Call me later. I love you." "Talk to you soon," I replied. I guess once you start lying, it gets easier. There was nothing about this woman that I could believe anymore. There were 2 rental trucks at my old house with 4 guys loading things as quickly as possible. The truck with my stuff was headed to the storage unit my brother rented this morning. The other truck was making its 4th trip to the consignment store. Both trucks were due back to the rental place by 5 p.m. By the time I hung up with Lilith, my old house was most likely vacant. I was waiting for the confirmation from my brother. He had certainly earned the 5 grand I paid him. The overnight package addressed to my attorney was ready to go. I'd signed all of the legal documents and was sending those, my house keys, and the garage door opener. Lilith would need to surrender her keys and opener as well. My attorney would soon be in touch with her. I didn't bother to call Lilith again. When I attempted to talk with Arnold's wife and tell her about the investigator's report, she hung up on me. Such is life. She'll get the report, along with pictures and videos, as it is being delivered by hand today. Then there were the 16 packages that I mailed. Lilith's parents, her friends, her employer, her siblings, and for the hell of it, our kids all got the same package. I did put a note in my kids' packages notifying them that I was disappointed in them, disappearing, and did not know if I'd ever be back in touch with them. And the package I felt the best about, mailed to Lilith, allowed me to vent. Other than stirring the pot, I'm not sure what I expected to accomplish. Still, it felt good. Lilith. By now, you probably realize that your inappropriate activities have resulted in the loss of your marriage. I've taken all of the readily available money. I've also taken what I wanted from the house. The rest of our belongings were delivered to a consignment store to be sold. My attorney has the details. You can claim the proceeds. I don't care about an amount of money that small. Don't bother looking for your jewelry. Those cash for gold places gave me a healthy sum of money. The rings from your aunt brought the most. My wedding band didn't net much, but c'est la vie. That diamond earring set you received from Arnold, well, it wasn't really worth all that much. Kind of like your wedding vows. The house is vacant now, and I withdrew our offer for the new house. That was just a ruse to get all of the proceeds for our house. Thanks for playing along. I'm not planning on divorcing you. You can spend your money doing that, if and when you save up enough. I do plan on replacing you as soon as possible, not that you care. I let the kids know that I'm disappearing. Since both were aware of your affairs and kept quiet, I've decided to disown them. I've told them that as well. There's really not much of a market for older, unfaithful spouses, so good luck to you in whatever career path you choose. If your parents hadn't committed all of their money to that retirement village thing, they might have been able to help you. Maybe you and Arnold can share accommodations. Maybe not. Don't know much about him. He's been a burden on society, but that's apparently what you wanted instead of your cushy lifestyle. Hopefully all of that deception won't cause you too much heartburn. I did leave you your father's pistol and a box of shells. Too bad you were too busy to join me taking shooting lessons. Oh well, point and pull trigger. Got it? If you're going to do a murder-suicide, do them first. If Arnold had kept his mouth shut, I might never have found out about the two of you. Bragging to that bartender about his relationship with some lady named Lilith was your undoing. What were the odds he'd stop by my brother Steve's bar? Steve said he immediately perked up since there's not too many ladies with a name like Lilith. Karma for me, I guess, especially when Arnold shared that photo of the two of you. When he paid by credit card, Steve asked to see his driver's license. After that, it was pretty easy to get all the evidence I needed. All of this for that man? How foolish can you be? Never mind. Foolish enough. I hope you weren't planning on leaving me and running off with Arnold. You can still run off with him, but it'll be with much less financial security. Thanks for a few endearing memories, but, for the most part, all of the other memories are tainted. Howard. Rather than keep my phone, I tossed it to the homeless guy snuggled up by the dumpster behind the hotel. I'd written down all of the contact information I cared to keep. I got a good night's sleep. Truth be told, it took several of those little bottles of booze in the hotel room to do the trick. Since all of this was on my credit card, I didn't care. I had no intention of being around to pay any bills. I have my doubts that any of the bills are going to get paid. Lilith has been a housewife for the last 22 years. She worked until she became pregnant shortly after we married. I had a reasonably good-paying job, so there was no need for her to work. Too much spare time after the kids graduated high school proved to be her downfall. My investigator wasn't able to determine much about how Lilith and Arnold met or how long it had been going on. What he was able to find out is that both of my kids had met with them. For whatever reason, Lilith had dropped by the college campus and taken them out to dinner. The investigator indicated he had followed them and taken video with audio. I was able to identify both of my kids. Arnold had been introduced as her companion. Whatever Lilith promised them proved to be their downfall. They'd had plenty of time to call and talk to me, but it never happened. After charging breakfast back to my room, I caught a cab ride to the used car lot. I simply left the hotel. I'll let Lilith try to figure out why I didn't check out. I wasn't scheduled to vacate until Monday. With my cheap set of wheels, I headed for the coast. By Saturday evening, I was on the beach, having successfully withdrawn a pocket full of local currency from the account of my new identity. My first purchase was dinner and drinks. While eating, a very friendly local convinced me to enjoy the nightlife. Compared to the life I'd been living for 20-some years, this one was energetic. Exchange rates made it such that I could live comfortably every day of the week if that's what I wanted. For the time being, that is what I wanted. Planning on setting up new email accounts, I bought a notebook, computer, and cell phone. It'll be tough to connect the new me back to my previous existence. I set up a VoIP phone number and got an update from Steve. He indicated Lilith had called and hung up on him when he teased her about her relationship with Arnold. From the perspective of Lilith, at least Howard left me the gun. In the shape I'm in, I lay awake at night and wonder if I should just end it all. At the time, I was intoxicated by attention. I never realized it was just a game that Arnold was playing to manipulate me. If you had told me a year ago that I would have an affair, I'd have laughed in your face. No way in hell would or could that happen. I guess I was ripe for the picking. I met Arnold at the gym. He would work out the same time I did. How did I ever fall for all those well-rehearsed lies? Somehow, deep down, I guess I desired someone, other than Howard, telling me I was cute, sexy, and desirable. He was patient. Compliments turned into grabbing a drink and talking in the parking lot. Deciding to drive over to the fast food place for a snack was my first mistake. Why in the world would a married woman meet a married man in a private setting? It took months of slowly playing me until our first inappropriate encounter. I started thinking about Arnold when I was with Howard. That was most likely what made it easier to succumb to advancing our relationship. I'd already mentally done it, so it was a short leap. Having my ego stroked about how desirable I was just fueled my demise. After our relationship advanced, I felt connected to him. I really was foolish. We had progressed to meeting at his summer house once a week. It was pretty easy to come home a touch late from running errands. When Howard went out of town for a few days, I was spending time with Arnold. Somewhere along the line, he had me believing I should leave Howard, take my share of the marriage, and he would do the same to his wife. We could continue our relationship as a couple. I don't know what possessed me to tell my kids, but I did. I think Arnold guided me into that decision to solidify my desire to abandon my marriage. When Howard left on that trip to Atlanta, I hadn't decided what I was going to do. I thought I handled the call from Howard deftly. It was only in the morning, when getting ready to leave, that I read the text from my sister. She'd received a package from Howard with explicit details of my affair. "Arnold, Howard knows," I exclaimed. "Good. You can start the divorce now," he replied. "But I don't..." I shut up because I hadn't decided if I really wanted a divorce. I ran into the bathroom and was sick. What have I done? It was about that time that a car pulled up and a gentleman served Arnold with divorce papers. "That woman, she's not leaving me with nothing. Take care of your own problems. I'm out of here," Arnold shouted angrily. And with that, Arnold drove off. After struggling to get home, I found our house completely empty. I was sick in my bathroom, too. While slumped over the toilet, someone rang our doorbell. There was an overnight package by the door. I feared the worst. Howard's letter crushed me. I called my kids and told them of the nightmare my life had turned into. Both of them had received packages, too. They had video proof of my indiscretions with Arnold. They were shocked to realize that Howard no longer wanted anything to do with them. I guess they hoped for a chance to explain their reasons to him. I know I did. After picking up some fast food, I headed to the consignment shop. My credit cards still worked, which surprised me. Some of my stuff had already sold, and the person there said if I wanted my things, I'd have to pay a cancellation fee. It was cheaper to buy back just the stuff I wanted. That fast food was no longer being digested. When I called Howard's cell, some stranger answered his phone. The kids had no better luck. I didn't figure Steve would help me, but I had to try. He laughed when I started asking questions. "Tell you what, Lilith. I'll pay you $50 a night to work at my establishment. You'll need proper attire." "What do you say?" Steve mocked. "Leave me alone," I yelled. "Well, don't say I didn't try to help you. Speaking of which, I heard your relationship with Arnold crossed boundaries." I hung up on him. This was the longest weekend of my life. Sleeping on the floor, then trying to figure out what else I should buy back from the consignment store. The only pair of shoes I had were the ones I wore home that day. None of my makeup made it. I went to the discount store and loaded up on bathroom essentials. I tried talking with friends and family, but Howard had sent them the videos. Not a soul wanted anything to do with me. The call from Howard's attorney was unsettling. The locks will be changed on Friday whether I'm still inside or not. Apparently, I can be charged with trespassing if the homebuyers wanted to go that route. On Thursday night, I loaded my worldly belongings into my car and slept in a cheap motel. The young clerk acted like I was untrustworthy. I had become homeless. I knew we had bank and brokerage accounts, but after reading Howard's note, I wasn't expecting to find any money. It took a long time at each institution to convince them I was entitled to have access to the accounts. I couldn't rent a cheap apartment with what Howard left me. Thankfully, he hadn't canceled our credit cards. If I watched my spending, I could live on those credit cards for a year, or until they were revoked. My calls to find a divorce attorney only added to my pain. I didn't have enough money to retain a lawyer. Not one was willing to take the case on a contingent basis. When Arnold called and told me he had no place to stay, I laughed at him. He suggested we get together to console each other. I told him where I was staying. Leaving the door ajar, I sat and waited in my car. I left Arnold a note telling him to make himself comfortable. A few minutes after he entered the room, I returned and opened the door to find Arnold waiting for me. I remember what Howard told me, point and pull trigger. I shot once and the bullet was almost perfectly positioned between his eyes, even though I thought I was aiming at his heart. I disposed of the note and waited for the police. The officer I spoke with seemed skeptical when I told him that I returned to find an intruder in my room, and before I recognized who it was, fired in self-defense. Make my day law, you know. They confiscated the gun and escorted me down to headquarters. I was allowed to leave, but 2 days later they arrested me for first-degree murder. I forgot that there was a record of that phone call, and they believe I ambushed Arnold. My court-appointed attorney can best be described as being green around the ears. I wasn't holding out much hope for being found innocent. At least my money and housing issues were put on hold. My time in jail was very difficult. After several difficult encounters with another inmate, I defended myself with an improvised weapon. That got me out of that cell, but unfortunately, into solitary confinement. I may not have to worry about the outcome of my trial, as my ex-cellmate let me know I was in danger. When I asked where my dinner was, the guard said I needed to comply with his inappropriate demands, or I'd starve. After he took advantage of me, I got my dinner plate. I wanted to die. "Hey, Steve, it's Howard. What's new?" I asked. "You better sit down, Howard. Lilith shot and killed Arnold, then tried to commit suicide. She's in a state mental institution." It was surreal listening to Steve describe Lilith's ordeal. "I'll talk to you later, Steve. My head is spinning." My attorney said he would investigate and I should wait for his analysis. Would I have anything to fear if I returned home? How do I go about getting my money back into the country? He told me to sit tight for a few days, and he would confirm what Steve had told me and what my options were. Walking down near the beach, it didn't take long to find a pleasant distraction. I found the companionship refreshing. Around midnight, I decided to rest. It's a good thing I have all of my valuables in the room's safety deposit box. Still, it was money well spent. Next day, having failed to find yesterday's companion, I found another friendly local. This arrangement was working well for me. I don't think about my previous life at all when enjoying my new freedom. I once read that money couldn't buy happiness. Money can buy ice cream. Ice cream brings me happiness. There seems to be a disconnect. Same with companionship. Having a loving wife was nice until she wasn't. Helping these single working people seems like the humanitarian thing to do. It has been almost 9 months since my attorney told me I could return. I just don't think that's going to happen. I've been enjoying my new life and freedom. At lunchtime, locals recognize me and greet me warmly. Apparently, I've been overpaying for services, but not in my book. I still had heartburn about my kids, so I sent them each a greeting card with a quarter taped inside. The next time you are faced with a tough decision, I hope you can find the inner strength and courage to do the right thing. If not, here's a quarter you can flip to help you make your choice. Keep it. It's all I'm leaving you. Lilith is considered mentally unstable and remains in the state institution. Murder charges never go away, so if she ever gets better, it's only going to get worse. And so, we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.